Hi, all Bones here from BSA Bantams. I have got the race engine out of the bike and up on the bench, and I think I found out why we're having all the troubles we were the other day. So I'll bring it a bit closer and we'll have a look. So if you can see the piston there, it's as oily as, and I think what's happened is we've lost crankcase seal between the gearbox and the crankcase. This is excessively oily, and it makes sense about having the bit of the runaway engine and things like that. So engine has to come apart, have to redo all the sealing surfaces between the two crankcase halves, and we'll see how we go. But there's an awful lot of oil around. I haven't measured how much gearbox oil we potentially lost, because this thing only had about 5 minutes run time. It just wasn't right, so I just didn't keep trying. But we'll get the engine apart and get it all sorted out. So engine apart, and as you can see, very oily. It's just got all the hallmarks of, there was a little bit of residual grease in the bearings. I usually just blow the excess grease out of the bearings before I install them, but you can even see there the drip. It's really oily. I think it's too oily. Seal surfaces actually look alright. It looked like it had a reasonable coating of sealant on it as well. So we'll just clean it all up and we'll throw it all back together and see how we go. Okay, as you can see, we've got the crankcase halves back together, and interestingly enough, that screw there, I think, was thread bound. So it was actually sitting up pretty high, and when I was doing it up, it just didn't feel right. So I had my stepson Justin actually put this together with me under my tutorial, because he's learning how to do all the Bantam stuff, but just the feel on it just wasn't quite right. So when I rebuild cases, I run all the threads through with a tap, so I know all the threads are clean and everything like that. I put a drill bit in there to see if there was any debris or anything at the bottom of the blind hole, and there was nothing there. So what I did was I've linished off a couple of threads off this, and it's pulled up on the case. So that screw there might have been the issue. So, because that's the only sort of thing that's conclusive as to why it would be sucking gearbox oil through that I've found. But well, once I get it all back together, we're going to find out soon enough if it fixed it or not. But we'll keep going. Barrel's just been cleaned off. We're getting ready to drop the barrel back on. So we've got our engine back together now. Very happy it went together well. As I said, I'm hoping that screw was the issue to why we lost crankcase pressure. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make another cable adjuster up. I wouldn't call it a mismatch of cables. It's just that the throttle cable that I've got doesn't have a mid cable adjuster. So I'm just going to, I'll let all the sealants cure in that. I'll make another longer one of these up. Alright, change of plan. I'm going to fit an adjuster in here. This obviously screws into there. So if I've got an adjuster in between, I've got adjustment both ways. And also, part of the reason for that is having a lot longer vertical thing with the cable tension pulling on the top of the carby. From an engineering point of view, I think this option's better. So that's our additional adjuster for our throttle cable done. So time to drop the engine in, and then I can get this all set up. Okay, engine's back in the bike. Double checked everything. The new cable adjuster's in, and that's worked really well. So all that needs to be done now is get the roller starter out here and go for a start. It's running better, but it's not running good enough. So it's running pretty warm, and I think I'm just wondering if it's like actually over compressed. So I might change the head on it to a lower compression head and just see how we go. I calculated the volume out of the head and it should be alright, but it's running pretty warm, and it's not a timing issue either, so I'm just wondering whether it's just a bit over compressed, but we'll find out. I'll have a play with a different head volume. Okay, other stuff we've been up to in the workshop are making these rear brake pedals. So they're all made in house. I've just got to give it a couple of paint touch ups. So yeah, we've been doing that. The customer engine, I'll just walk around here. His CDI and all these parts in the box here. Get this up here. A bit dark, but all these internal components, they've all been washed and just oiled. And his cases away getting vapor blasted, barrels away getting bored, so I'll go through those soon and do the inspection, and then just before assembly give them another clean off, and we'll put it all together. So it's actually not too bad. There was an awful lot of corrosion on different stuff, as you can see over here. I've actually had it in a bath to eat up all the corrosion, but most of it's come up pretty well. There's no really bad things. The usual bushes in your main shaft are flogged out and your main shaft needs polishing off. That's pretty standard for a Bantam. So yeah, that's progressing pretty well. Okay, well that's about it for this episode. As I said previously, I'm gonna have a play with the heads, and I've got plenty of heads out in the where all my second-hand parts are, so I can change it around and have a bit more of a play. I'm pretty satisfied. It definitely hasn't got a crank seal leak anymore, because you saw how easily it started and that sort of thing. So that's a real telltale for crank seal issues. But just once it warms up a bit, I reckon it starts nearly, you sort of throttle it a bit and it might be pinging a bit. I'm not sure. But anyway, I'll keep playing. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode. To all those people that have subscribed recently, thank you very much. To all those who've been with me for a while, also thank you very much. It's pretty gratifying to see the amount of subscribers that we're actually getting, and it certainly does make putting a video together worthwhile. So once again, from Oz Bantams, until next time, we'll see you later.